wanting to create something for your life can be everything, right? You may want to create a better financial health for your life. You may want to create a better health for your life, regardless of what it is that you want to create. Once you visualize that thing that you want, it's possible. But you know what's crazy is having to go through the challenges, right? As you're creating. It's not easy. And sometimes what you want to create, you do it and it wasn't the right thing. And so, how do we overcome all of this? Let's have the conversation. You are listening on your favorite podcast provider, or perhaps watching this show on your big TV screen. Regardless, I'm excited to have you. My name is Martine Cadet, and I am the host of the Visualize and Create show. You will be able to meet amazing individuals that are going to inspire you, motivate you, and give you the tools for you to visualize and create whatever it is that you want. Make sure you check out the show notes and share this with a friend. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Visualize and Create video podcast. My name is Martine Cadet. I am your host, connecting from New Jersey, at least now. I don't know if the next episode I'll be somewhere else. And I'm so excited that you tuned in. Whether you're watching or listening, at the end of the day, you are here. And I want to promise you that by the end of this episode, I hope you're going to send me a DM and my guest a DM saying, thank you so much for showing up today, right? So stay tuned, because my guest today, Julz, is going to have a wonderful conversation with you. But first, she has to tell you who she is and tell you a little bit about her story. I'm actually going to be hearing it for the very first time with you. And so, Julz, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be on your show. And yeah, it's really good to be here. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm so excited to have you. And so I'd love to kick off the conversation with you sharing with us, Julz, a little bit about yourself, because I know there's so much that you've been able to accomplish. Mm-hmm. But as I say this all the time, we did not wake up like this yesterday, okay? And so it's been a journey, and we would love to hear your story. And towards the end of the episode, we'll definitely talk about what you do today and how you can support us. But first, let's find out more about Julz. Who is Julz?
So the easy version of me, I think that's something that will never change. Who my identity is. I like to say I am a child of God, right? That's something that will never change for even when I'm 80 and everything. But what I do is, so I'm an author, and I'm a life coach, a certified life coach, and I am a musician. And so currently what I am doing is I'm helping others to build healthy coping skills for life. And that's basically, I do that through my authoring. I do that through teaching others music. I do that in our friendships. Everything I do is just by helping others just live a healthy life, feeling free and alive, just creating that spirit in others, like awakening the true self in other people. So that's what I do.
That's wonderful. I love that you are an author. And let me tell you, a musician, what instrument do you play?
Okay, so I play 2 instruments. Well, 3 if you count my voice, right? That sounds like an instrument. But so piano is like the instrument that I've loved since I was a child. And that's the one that I've played the longest. But I picked up guitar because piano is really hard to take with you everywhere. But I like to write songs. So guitar was something I could take with me, and it was mobile. So I ended up mastering both instruments really well. And so, that's what I do. I just put on recently I just put on a show, a musical that I wrote. And I played that from beginning to the end. I basically just wanted to tell my story in a very dramatic way. And so that recently just happened last Thursday. It was just literally a week from yesterday. Yeah, Thursday the 14th. It was really an amazing time. I was like, I was born to do this. This is me.
Gosh.
Being able to coach people in the same room. You're telling your story, and you can feel people are really emotional, and they're connecting with the music and the narrative. It was an amazing time.
I can only imagine. That creative process is so, so critical. And, you know, I say this a lot to friends, family, clients, when they're like, well, I don't want to share my story. It's not something that I want to do. And, you know, there's many, many ways and mediums, like you just shared with music, that you could share that story. And that's beautiful. I love that you play instrument. And would think you're using that as well to help your clients as they go through and they tap into you to support them in their life coaching needs, right?
Yeah, because my dream has always been to I wanted to be a counselor and a musician. I was trying to put both of them in one space. And the closest I can say is a music therapist uses music in their space to help people. And so one of the things that I'm looking forward to putting my life coaching and music together is basically helping people to play a song, to bring a song, and I teach them how to play it on the piano because it expresses their emotion, and a song I can tell you that has over 500 million views is that song Somebody to Love. I think it's Someone I Used to Love, or Somebody That I Used to Love, or something like that. It's a song that is expressing someone's pain of loss of a relationship. I mean, can you imagine 500 million views? And that song is played and played and played. That means people want a way to express their pain and their joy. And what better way than to come into a space where I teach you how to play the song that you want to express your pain with. And it's like, tell me about why you want to choose this song. Tell me what you're feeling. And I want to help you play it with expression. And then you get to share that with the rest of the world. I can't wait to start doing that. It's going to be.
I love that. So powerful. And you're so right. I mean, I know for me, Julz, and for you listening and watching, let me tell you, I'm sure your playlist defines, right? Sometimes how you feel, like you tap into, like, I know for me, right? There's times like I go out.
It's what you're going through.
Exactly. Yeah. And it motivates you, or it inspires you. And so I truly love that you do that. And before we talk about your book, Julz, I did browse around your website, which, by the way, is absolutely beautiful. And for you listening and watching all the way to this point, you rock, because that means you're invested. In the show notes, make sure you check, because Julz has information and you can browse her website. So I did. And I noticed that you are specialized, right, in specific type of life coaching. Can you walk us through what that is that you specialize on in helping others? Particularly?
Yeah. Well, I specialize in what I've already gone through myself, which is so because I have recently gone through a very painful broken marriage, right? And so I walk through others through that the process of the emotion that goes with it, the rejection, the heartbreak. Some people have to start their life anew, and they have to move to a different city. They have to get, they've never worked for like 10, 20 years or something because they were stay-home moms. Now they have to get a job. They have to start a business. They have to raise their kids as single moms and things like that. So you're walking through someone through a transitional time, which is very, very difficult. And you can't really help someone unless you've gone through that yourself. And that's the season I'm in. And God keeps bringing all these people in my life that are in that transition. It's like I can't get away from it, but because I've gone through it, and I'm on a few steps ahead of them, really, maybe in the process, but I walk them through, and they're like, how do I do this? They come broken. They're like, I don't know how my life will ever be the same again. But they look at me, I'm like, well, I have moved forward. I have moved on, and you could do the same as well. It's encouraging when you see someone going through a journey where you could see yourself as in a couple of years. It's so encouraging. The people who went ahead of me, I looked at them, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is where you are. Will I ever get there? And you spend time with them, and you start to move forward, and your life becomes more joyful and happy than you've ever expected.
Yes, absolutely. I have to tell you, I mean, a lot of what you're sharing right now, I'm hoping is resonating a lot to the people listening and watching, because, this is a constant thing that I try to explain, and I'm so happy that you brought it up. first of all, you made the decision, Julz, to show up as a result of you going through what you went through and saying, yes, I'm going to take the responsibility to go out here and tell you that I was able to overcome it. Because it's not easy to do, you know, because especially when you go through trauma and then, you know, having to relive, because every time you meet someone, you kind of relive that moment that you went through, you know. So kudos to you for doing that and helping others. And the second thing that I love is that you responded to that calling and you're like, wait, I can help. I'm probably 2 steps ahead of them. I'm not 10 steps ahead of them. Regardless, I'm going to impact, right? And that decision to take action, that decision to start creating is so powerful. And so I love that you do that. And tell us a little bit about your book, 40 Days and 40 Nights. Am I getting it correctly?
Yeah. 40
Excellent.
Days, 40 Nights.
So it's a beautiful cover, by the way, for you watching. You can see it. Julz has it with her. Absolutely gorgeous. And for you listening, make sure you check the show notes so you can link to it. So tell us about, how did this book come about and what can we expect? Because I definitely am going to be grabbing it.
Right. It just started as it was 40 days before my birthday. 40 days before my 40th birthday, I wanted to start writing. I mean, I just was like, I woke up, I think it was September 28th. September 28th of 2019, I just woke up and he was like, today is the day. I was like, well, today's the day for what, you know? And it was like, yeah, start writing. So I just would wake up and I just started writing what God was putting in my heart. And it was transformative information that he was giving me. And I started sharing that on Facebook. I would go every single day, whatever was being downloaded into my heart. And I would just go, I would just go Facebook Live, or I would just write a devotional from that day of the transformation that was happening within me. And then after that, I took, the following year was 2020, right? So I put all of that devotion and I organized it in a book. And I realized, wow, I've moved from point A to point B. What was my point A? Was just not knowing who I was. After you've come from a relationship and you're just kind of like going through a whole new identity, and now I have a purpose. So how did I go from point A to point B? And I just started looking at and arranging it. And I was like, I saw like a pattern. I saw parts. I said, okay, look, first God worked on my identity. So in order for me to find my purpose, I need to know who I am. And then I need to know who created me. Like, who is this that made me? I need to know him. So it was like knowing my identity, knowing him. And then also I realized there was an enemy. And who is my real enemy? Is it my ex? Is it the society? And I realized there's only one common enemy that we have, and that's the devil, the Satan, if you want to call it, the evil forces in the heavenly realm. And I was like, so you need to know that. You need to know who your real enemy is. It's not your ex. It's not flesh and blood. It's something that's beyond us, you know, an evil force. And I was like, so I studied that. And then I studied the truth. So if I know the lies, I need to study the truth. And I just found it in the Word of God. And I started studying what Jesus taught. And when I got to know him, then he told me what my purpose was. So then that's part 5 of the book, is knowing your purpose. Everybody has a gift on the inside of them. Some people have many, many gifts. Like for me, I could write, I could read, I could play, I could dance. I mean, like some people have 5 talents, some people have 4, some people have only 1. But you have to exercise all of that talent, and it all leads to something. And it's your job to really dig and find that treasure of why it is you're here on earth. And for me, it just boiled down to just 2 things I've always wanted to do, is help other people navigate their emotions, and music. And so I find how to use music and my talent and my intuitiveness to help people understand what they're feeling, so that they can go from the messed up part of themselves, their trauma, and to feeling alive and feeling free. So that's why I titled the book Your Healing Journey to Freedom and Purpose, because my whole I want everyone to feel free and alive and feel like they can contribute to to make a difference in this world.
Yeah.
And it starts by changing yourself. So that's basically the gist of the book, is your journey from a healing journey to freedom and purpose.
Stop wasting hours trapped behind the keyboard when you could be spending time building relationships, attracting new leads, and nurturing your clients. My content marketing agency, Cadet Media Boutique, specializes in VIP custom video editing and graphic design for coaches, consultants, and service providers just like you who want to show up and stand out online. Visit my website, martinecadet.com/podcast, so you can get started today with your online presence. I look forward to supporting you. Again, for you listening, this is the thing going through, and I said it at the top of the conversation in this episode, right? We have that desire. We say, yes, I want to create for my life. I want whatever it is that you want, your line list of things, and you start creating, but you stumble upon challenges. Emotions happen just like you shared, right?
Yeah.
Things are happening not the way you thought they would happen. Emotions come out, or maybe you did a great job. Emotions still come out when you do a great job. But at the end of the day, I love that Julz is here today to tell you whatever emotions is going on, you need to know how to manage them. And if you don't know how to manage them, tap into me, is what Julz is saying. And I love that. And I love that you do that, because even for me personally, before we end this episode, I have yet to share this on my podcast, but I have shared somewhat out there. I've gone through trauma personally, and it's affected my trajectory in my life, and it continues to. And I try to manage the emotion so that it doesn't affect my children's lives, right? And I bring this up because, listen, for you listening, watching, what Julz and I are saying is that we all are different. We all have things. I was going to say the bad word, but I don't know if I want to curse on my show, but things happen. Okay.
Ish happens. Yeah.
Ish happen. Thank you. I love that. And so we should not feel a certain type of way, right? Because especially with the social media world and digital world, when we see things and we're like judging ourselves, thinking that we fall short all the time for whatever reason, don't feel like that. And if you feel like that, call Julz, okay? She's gonna help you manage that emotion, because we're all different. We all have stories. We all have, unfortunately, whether it's traumas or situation that's happened in our lives that we're like, this is horrible, right? And I don't know how to move past it. But the good news is we're saying you can move past it, because Julz can do it. And I was able to get out my trauma, and I'm still working through it. There's a possibility. And so thank you for sharing that about your book. And, we'll make sure to have the information for your book in the show notes. And with that, I'd love to end by finding out from you, Julz, the best way, like, how does it work to work with you? Like, do you do, because so many people do different things. Like, is there a form we have to fill out? Are you getting on a call with me? Like, can you walk us through, so that for those listening or watching that are interested in tapping into you, have an expectation of what to expect to start working with you?
Right. Basically, to work with me, you just go on, and I'm sure you'll have the link to my website, the one that is from my mentor. It's mymentor.life, and then /Julia Muya. I actually use my official name on that one. Is /Julia Muya. And there's like many, there's blogs there you could read, but there's also a book a session. So you can book a session right there from that website. So if you go in there and then choose a time that you want to have a consultation with me, and then basically I'll speak with you for an hour, and then we can decide later if you want to do a course with me, maybe like a 4-week course with me. And because it doesn't take like one session is not really enough. But even through those 4 sessions, or that 5 weeks that I work with you, I literally pour into you and give you all the tools that you're going to need to start working your healing journey on your own. Because a lot of the times it's just it's pointing you in the right direction who to go to, where to get help, and I give you all those tools, and you start digging and walking through that journey. Because it's you that does most of the work, really. I point you in the right direction. We do 4 weeks together, and then I just show you who to call, the kind of people to surround yourself with, because not just you. And yeah, that's what I like literally pour my whole self, everything that I have. I don't hold back.
Oh, so good. So good. So good. Thank you for that. And again, you're listening and watching all the way to this point, which means you're very much invested. And we have to tell you, Julz and I want to tell you, congratulations for even wanting to have that idea of taking that action to connect with Julz. And what we want to tell you is to do it. Do it, because here's the thing, you cannot do this alone. Okay. This is why Julz was able to go through her journey. She was not able to do it alone. And so there's nothing wrong with you asking for help. Okay. And perhaps you went through with someone else, and for whatever reason it didn't work out and you're questioning. Just schedule your consultation with Julz and see what happens. Okay. And I'm sure you'll be satisfied. And so I appreciate you coming on the show so much, Julz. I cannot wait to continue our connection. I look forward to having you again on the show and providing us with insights and tools and support. I'm truly a fan, and I'm going to be looking for your music because I love music myself. And so thank you so much again for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And I really enjoy your show. I actually, I love everything that you're doing, and I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And for you listening and watching, thank you for watching, listening all the way to the end. You know what to do. Subscribe, share with a friend. Send Julz a message on social media. Let her know that you heard her wonderful words on this episode, right? And stay connected. Until then, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. You have just listened or watched the Visualize and Create show. Don't forget to download our app and make sure to leave us a review. And before I go, I do want you to visit my website, martinecadet.com. Browse around. There's a lot of stuff in there. I have a store. I also have great services available for you so that you can visualize and create anything that you want. I will see you in the next episode.